This video is sponsored by Wonderland Cottages, spacious, self-contained eco-villas in the heart of the Grampians. More about them at the end of the video. MacKenzie Falls is one of those iconic trails in the Grampians, and it's just a wonderful waterfall which runs year-round. There are two ways of seeing it really. One is the Lookout trail that's wheelchair accessible and pram accessible. It's very level for most of the part, and it gives you a good view of the fall. That takes about 45 minutes, I'd say, return. The much nicer view, though, is from the bottom of the falls, as it usually is with waterfalls. The walk to the base of the waterfall takes about an hour and a half return. It goes down into the valley about 100 meters down, and then, of course, up again. That's a lot of steps. I've been to MacKenzie Falls a number of times, but for this video, we first hiked to the lookout point, which, if you want to do both, I would recommend you do, because afterwards you probably aren't interested in doing that anymore. And then we headed down to the two different waterfall lookouts and then to the base of MacKenzie Falls. My neighbor here actually was part of the crew building those steps and walls back in the day, and I just love the craftsmanship in those walls. It's just beautiful, I find. While the trail is pretty steep, it's mostly paved, usually isn't very slippery. The sandstone here in the Grampians is rarely slippery. Just at the base, you got to be a bit careful where there's always water on the rocks, where there are always some splashes onto. That's where it can get slippery. Swimming is not allowed at the base of the waterfall. Reason for that is that people have fallen in and drowned. If you want to swim, you can hike a little bit further downstream to a place called Fish Falls. You can't miss it. It's another fairly big waterfall, and you can swim at the base of that. There's no sign which prohibits you doing that. Another way to hike this is with a car shuffle. You could hike that way from the car park from MacKenzie Falls down to the waterfall, down to Fish Falls, and then to Sumsteins, however you want to pronounce it. And that makes it a lot easier because obviously you don't have to climb out of the valley again. But this is also a trail I recommend if it's a rainy day, because to look at a waterfall, you don't need the wide vistas. You don't need the great sunny days. If you've never been to the Grampians, this trail should be high up on your list. It's just a fantastic spot to look at. I would rate this trail as medium. While the trail surface itself is easy, you have the elevation gain in there, which makes it just a bit harder. If you only want to go to the lookout point, though, that's an easy walk for sure. It doesn't get much easier than that. Photography-wise, if you want to take long exposure shots of MacKenzie Falls, I would go early in the morning. That way the sun doesn't come over the ridge yet, and the waterfall is in the shadow. The other time it's very nice is fairly late in the afternoon, especially in summer, late in the afternoon. The sunlight falls into this valley, so if you're heading further downstream, it's a fantastic view. If you want to hike this or other trails in the Grampians, Wonderland Cottages would make an ideal base for your stay. With their spacious, self-contained eco-villas, they are perfect for couples, families and small groups. Located in easy walking distance to the center of Hall's Gap, yet tucked away in a quiet forest setting, the property borders the national park, which makes for great wildlife viewing. Wonderland Cottages strives to minimize your holiday's ecological footprint. All their toilet paper, tissues and paper towel is made from bamboo. There is a water recycling system in place. All electricity is 100% green renewable, and solar power is in the making. All cottages have 2 bedrooms, a large living area with fireplace and modern aircon, a fully spec'd out kitchen, a bathroom with separate toilet, 2 private decks and a private barbecue. But don't just take my word for it. Check out the great ratings on Google, Booking.com and Airbnb. For the best price and special offers, always book directly at wonderlandcottages.com.au.